Hi, how you doing, and welcome back to another video on the channel. What we have for you today is our preview video going into Game Week 10. We're going to take a quick review of how my team did in Game Week 9, as well as transfer thoughts, team selection, and captaincy advice moving forward. If you are new to the channel, please do subscribe, like the video. The support is always appreciated, and we have had more subscribers since the last video, which is always awesome. That video is a 97% rated wildcard draft with Salah and Haaland in it. So if you want to check out the players we put around them to make it that good a draft, go check it out. Link will be in the description and at the end of the video. Let's take a look at how my team did in Game Week 9. So as we get the team on the board, my game weeks recently, they tend to be following the same pattern, which is we get a small green arrow after Saturday's games and then a slightly bigger red arrow after Sunday's games. I think we've had a couple of red arrows in a row now, but we're still at 365,000 in the world, which is awesome. You know, that's a great rank at this stage of the season. And whilst it's not nice to have a red arrow at any point, there's like 10 million managers who would swap places with me in a heartbeat, so I can't complain too much at that. And it's a really good position to be in at this stage of the season. I think a realistic goal at the moment would be to try and chip away and get into that top 100k consistently, and then we can take it from there. But the point spread is still so small at the moment, it can go even worse before it gets better, because you know there's just less people ahead of me than there are behind me, so it's a lot easier to get a red arrow than a green arrow at the moment. But as long as I'm hovering around the same similar rank, I'm absolutely fine with that for now. In terms of where the points came from this game week, it was really a case of what if. I don't know if you've seen the highlights or not, or any of the games, but it was such open games this game week, and you could really have had some massive points haul. But players like Foden could easily have got 2 assists, maybe even more, and a lot of those potential assists were falling to Haaland. I know people triple captained him, which is unfortunate because I think he had his highest expected goals return of the whole season, maybe even ever. It was something like between 3.5 and 4 expected goals against Southampton. He just got the one, and he was having shots cleared off the line. He put a couple wide from close range, which is completely out of character, but at least he's getting the chances. Watkins also had an assist ruled out. It was that one where he just didn't keep it on the pitch. They played on it anyway, and John McGinn scored, and then it turned out that the ball had just gone out by less than millimetres. He also had another pass to John Duran, who blazed it wide. On another day, John Duran would have scored that, so it could be sat here with Watkins with 2 assists. And Strand Larsen also had some chances, saved from close range, some really good headers, and he got booked, which was really helpful for my FPL points. We did bring in Cole Palmer, which was great, because if I hadn't brought in Cole Palmer, the amount of people that own him, we really would be looking at a massive rank drop. So it's a bit nervy in terms of how much on a fine balance your FPL game weeks are, really, depending on 1 or 2 players. But I'm really happy with how the team goes, and I think it's something that you need to be aware of as well. If you've got players in and they're playing well and they're just being unlucky, obviously there's a limit where you maybe have to cut your losses and transfer them out. But I would just stick with them for longer. The point spread is still so small, like we say, and a lot of the players in my team, other FPL managers either are getting in or they want in at the moment, and I think that tells me that I'm on the right tracks. The defence is okay as well. We've not got a load of money in defence, but they've got good fixtures. The main issue at the moment is Kevin Schade. He was one of those fun picks that I brought in when Visser got injured, because there wasn't really anyone else at the price that I wanted. Andreas Pereira wasn't really performing well at the time either, and he was starting up front was Kevin Schade, but that time has sort of run out now. Visser's back. He's back to coming off the bench, but he is another player who had a couple of chances cleared off the line in his time, and was a case of what if. But really good overall. Hopefully you had a good game week as well. Pop in the comments how you did in this game week. Let's take a look at the fixtures. So the fixtures for game week 10, and captaincy option is kind of the same. We're beating the same drum every week, probably between Haaland and Salah. I think in terms of captaincy for me, I don't own Salah, so I'm definitely going to be going with Haaland. You could make a case for Cole Palmer away at Man United, but now there's been a manager change. You never quite know how it's going to go. I wouldn't expect there to be too much change at Man United, to be honest. From a personal opinion, I don't think the players are going to be, playing well anytime soon. But Cole Palmer could be a good option. I think if you own Salah, I would captain Salah. If you owned Haaland and Salah, what a nice position to be in. I think I would probably still captain Haaland away at Bournemouth, but depends really whether you think Brighton are going to be the same Brighton that turned up against Chelsea, where they just played those lofted balls in behind. If that was the case, Salah could have an absolute field day, but you wouldn't expect Brighton to fall into that trap twice. So it's really dependent on personal opinion if you own both. If you own either Haaland or Salah, you captain one of them. If you want to go a little bit out there, you captain Cole Palmer. So the team for this game week is looking okay. A lot of my players had home games last game week, and that's the one where you look at your team and you think, oh, that'd be great. They all have home games. We're going to get a massive points haul this game week. That didn't happen. And now the flip side is pretty much all of them are playing away. Still got good fixtures though. Man City have Bournemouth away. I think that's a good fixture for them. Brentford have Fulham away. That could still be good as well. We talked about the Chelsea game. Watkins with Spurs away. He could still score. Villa are playing well. I think it's just been unlucky recently. Strand Larsen has Crystal Palace at home. I'd be hoping for a goal from him then. So in terms of where my team are moving forward, there's not really too many transfers I can make, mainly because I've got nothing in the bank and only one free transfer. So this is a game week where I probably will roll it. Normally we have a slide after this where we talk about different transfer options and permutations where we can go. But because my options are so limited and there's not really any big hitters that I want to change, I'm not really going to do anything this game week. I think free transfers are really used for your big hitting players with high upside that you want to change because of fixture swings. I'm not a massive fan of using free transfers for the cheaper players, especially when I've only got one free transfer to use. I think I'd rather use 2 free transfers and use the money elsewhere, because we could sell Kevin Schade. There's not really anyone 5.3 million and below that I can get. If you think that there is anyone, pop it in the comments. I'd be glad to hear it. But the option would be to drop him down to a 4.5 million midfielder. But then I don't want to take a points hit to upgrade anybody else. And there's not really anyone else I would want to upgrade with that money. You could maybe look at doing Foden to Saka, but I've just got Foden in, and I definitely don't want to sell him based on his recent performance against Southampton. Another option could be to use a wildcard. Now that is becoming more and more likely because I've still saved it. I wasn't one of the people who wildcarded when everyone was talking about it earlier in the season. A lot of those wildcards haven't worked out. And I think my advice for using the wildcard would be, look at your team, look at the cheaper players in your team. When their fixtures start turning bad, that's when you probably need to wildcard, because they're the players that you don't want to use your free transfers on, and they're the players that you want to get in for a semi-long period of time. Right now, those Mikalenkos, Leif Davises, even the Leicester City players, they have reasonably good fixtures for the short term. Even Kevin Schade has good fixtures. He's just not probably going to play as much as I would like him to. So, players like maybe Raya, Gvardiol, they can be sold on a wild card to someone cheaper, and then I could look at upgrading, maybe even an Mbuemo or a Kevin Schade to a more premium midfielder. But I think for now I'm happy with where the team is. One option I could do is someone like Ryan Aït-Nouri from Wolves, but he is 1 yellow card away from a suspension. So is that someone I want to use a free transfer on? We've been there before where players are on 4 yellow cards and they don't get another yellow card for the rest of the season. And every game you're thinking, oh, they're just 1 yellow card away, I'll miss them out. So he is one option, but I'm not desperate to move out someone like Leif Davies or Anthony Robinson in order to get him in. So that's one thought if I was to make any transfers, but to be honest, I'm highly likely just to roll a transfer and maybe look at wildcarding around game week 12. There is an international break between game week 11 and 12, so I could do it then as well. I just got to start playing around with possible permutations in my own team and looking at those wildcards. So that's my thoughts, but let me know what you think as well. If there's any transfers you think I could move and make for this game week or for the foreseeable future, drop them in the comments. Likewise, if you've got any questions, I'm always happy to offer my advice if you want it. I will always get back to any questions in the comments. Please go check out the wildcard video as well if you want. Even if you're not wildcarding, it hopefully offers some good transfer advice. Thank you very much for listening, and I will see you in the next one.